I talked about this article from Sports Illustrated that talked about the Chicago Bulls potentially, the Chicago Bulls and Minnesota Timberwolves potentially getting a deal done for Coby White to go to Minnesota. Now, pairing that with Brett Siegel and what he said yesterday is that as what he's heard from around league sources, around Summer League, the Bulls have no interest in trading Coby White, which, again, I'm not mad at. It's actually good to hear that being said because it's been so much up and down on what's the future is going to be with Coby. Are they going to pay him? Are they not going to pay him? But I still think this, even though the Bulls don't want to move Coby, which is what the message they should be sending out right now in a season before he goes into unrestricted free agency, which he's going to do regardless. But of that happening, you should be pulling out, hey, we want you here. Now, as that goes on and the season goes on, and maybe you start feeling differently. Maybe you do hear that Coby is open to moving in the offseason. Maybe the pairing with him and Josh Giddey doesn't work. I do think at that point in time, the Bulls could start listening more actively to offers for Coby White. And that's just the nature of the business. Again, when you don't want to lose an asset for nothing and you put it in a position where they could very well leave for nothing. So you have to pair that into it with, right? But this article from Sports Illustrated, the writer was Tony Lebert, was the writer there from sportsillustrated.com. And he said he had an article in which the Minnesota Timberwolves could be focusing on getting Coby White as an additional ball handler and a player that could become a trade candidate for them, right? Saying this, the NBA offseason is here and we're almost 24 hours away. And it never stops teams from making blockbuster trades. Bulls guard Coby White is a player who continues to be mentioned as a potential trade candidate this offseason. So let's look at what Minnesota could put together in hopes of acquiring him. And so they go on to talk about the article about how Coby White fits into there, and they say this. The trade idea we're playing with features Coby White coming to Minnesota in exchange for Dante DiVincenzo and Rob Dillingham. A straight-up trade featuring White for DiVincenzo doesn't work because of the money. So more pieces have to be involved. In this case, the Wolves may decide whether they want to part with Dillingham or Terrence Shannon Jr., which I think with the offseason that Terrence Shannon Jr. has had, maybe not, or maybe they look to leverage that to get a more kind of sure thing in Coby White, right? Take that what you will. White is still only 25 years old and is coming off a breakout year, so Chicago's not going to part ways with him for nothing. DiVincenzo saw a scoring dip from 15.5 points per game in 2023-24 to 11.7 last season, but he's still one of the most team-friendly contracts in the NBA. Pairing him with Dillingham could get Minnesota a lead guard option who's ready to compete as a starter next season. So the trade that they have out here is Dante DiVincenzo and Rob Dillingham, which their combined contracts come right at to 17, well, almost 18 million. You're then trading that for Coby White, whose contract is $12 million. Keep in mind, the Bulls do have a trade exception to which they can absorb one of those contracts into.